Hello. Lovely to see you all here. And I believe we don't have any electricity. And I find that, thanks to Eskom, and I find it quite interesting because I always say Spirit has such a wonderful sense of humor, because the topic I've chosen for today was live louder. And I was like, yay, guess who has to speak louder? So, yeah, it never ceases to amaze me, and I always have a bit of a chuckle how they deliver it. Because, as we know, the universe delivers it all. How we perceive it is up to us, and which pieces we pick out of it or don't pick out of it is also us. Everything is neutral until we attach something to it. The universe isn't out there to get us. It's not out there to punish us. It's not even out there to reward us. The universe just is. The universe is perfect. The universe is love. Of course it's perfect. So are we, because we are the universe. Now this is where the speed bumps come in. We believe the universe is perfect, but we are not always that convinced when it comes to us. Who we are, what we believe about ourselves, how we show up in the world, how people respond to it. We have all these stories. And especially in the world that we live nowadays, that's all on its head, that runs on fear and on panic and on all kind of let's not go into social media because we know what sells. But ultimately, there's only two emotions. It's love and fear. There's a million versions and facets that love shows up, and there's another million that fear shows up. Every emotion or notion is either from the one or from the other. Nothing else is there. None of them are wrong. But what we align ourselves to, that's on us. Even in times like this, where all you hear is doomsday, and if you don't have 500 injection, you die. If you do have them, you die. If you wear a mask, you die. If you don't have a mask, you die. You know, fact is, we will die, irrespective of what we do or don't do. But what happened is, we're so concentrating, or being trained to concentrate on what we want to avoid and what we don't want, that we are constantly living in fear. When we live in fear, we cannot be in the here and now. Fear does not live in the here and now. Fear forces us or gets us to live in the future because we want to avoid stuff. I want to avoid that this happens to me. I want to avoid I get sick. I want to avoid that I have an accident. I want to avoid that my child gets lost. I want to avoid things. So I'm constantly preempting and living in the future. I'm not in the here and now. Now the thing with that is, what we tell ourselves and where we spend the most time in is our reality. So let's say we're 50 people here right now. And I'm really bad with math, so let's say we're a lot of people here right now. And each of us has a different reality. Each of those realities are valid. None of them is wrong. None of them are identical either. Not one of them. Yet we're all the universe. That's what we have in common. So the thing is, fear screams loud. It's constantly in our ears. All we've heard, all we read, all that's broadcasted, it's fear-based 90% of the time. And what comes with that as well is, we've had a pandemic, okay? Was it a virus? There was a virus, but the pandemic is fear. Fear lowers frequencies. We cannot have healthy bodies and immune systems and lowered frequencies. It's impossible. Even science caught up on that by now. And we know they're always a bit behind. So the pandemic is fear. And I'm not saying the medical fraternity doesn't have its place. Of course they do. They're great with diagnostics. And there is other places for them as well. I'm not bashing them by all means, but the real pandemic is fear from an energetic point of view. So fear screams loud. So love needs to scream louder. Us feeling not good enough can scream very loud in our heads. Us already being more than worthy, we born good enough. We wouldn't be here if we wouldn't be. It's that simple. We are the universe in 3D. Nothing to prove. So when this little voice comes in and goes like, oh, not tall enough, not this enough, not intelligent enough, not this, whatever we tell ourselves, those little lies we start to believe about ourselves. Unless we are also prepared to say that the universe is utterly flawed and useless, it's just not true. Love needs to scream louder. Love holds the higher frequency. And as stereotypical as it sounds when we say love will conquer all, no, we still have to go through our trials and tribulations. That's fine. But if we use them for growth, or if we use them as affirmations for the stories we're telling ourselves, that's up to us entirely. If we surround ourselves with what screams fear, or if we surround ourselves with what screams love, it's up to us. We need to surround ourselves with people, thoughts, influences, or just maybe nothing is best at times. Because love has it automatically, that space. But love needs to scream louder. For every I'm not good enough, there needs to be 10 I'm flippin' perfect. Because otherwise I would not be here. The whole universe decided I need to be here, so I ain't going to argue with the universe. What does my brain know? My brain is a very kind of mechanic thing. It's as old as my liver and my kidney. It wants to argue with the universe. My brain only knows, in my case, it's here for 50 years, it only knows a very eclectic mix of what I've put in there for 50 years. And it wants to argue with eternity. Heike, you're perfect. No, like in grade 8 when you're like, oh, you're everything but perfect, Heike. Your universe says I'm perfect. No, you're not. What are we doing? Love needs to scream louder. It automatically heals. That's what love does. We are love. The universe is love. If we recognize it or not is up to us. It still is. It still is. It's kind of like us saying air does not exist. Well, if I want to acknowledge this or not, it's still there. So love needs to scream louder. And sometimes it is a whisper. And sometimes it's found in the silence. Sometimes it can just be louder when we go away from the noise. There's a lot of noise everywhere. Love has always been everything there is. And on top of it all is every cell of our body is constantly eavesdropping on our thoughts and responds accordingly. So the more we have those fear-based, not enough, not this, not that thought, the more the body is like, oh, okay, clearly that's what we are, so we give her not enough. Of course, what we tell ourselves is the frequency we create. And mind, body, soul always works together, so it's simply, oh, we have a new memo, so that's who we are. Okay, let's create that. Because we create our reality if we realize it or not. Sometimes we've got to stop ourselves and actually, what am I telling myself? We're normally way nicer with the world around us. We're even nicer to people we don't like than we are to ourselves. But why is that? Why can we recognize that with others and not ourselves? Why are we, there is them and there is me? There's only us. And one of my favorite sayings is like, it's about time we get full of ourselves. We're full of everything else. And we don't even know what it is half the time. The problem is, if we don't know what it is, we don't know how to regulate it. And half the time we don't know what we're spewing out there. And we can never catch up on it. And we can never have enough of it because we don't know what it is. It's everything but me. And if it's not me, I can't identify. I can't get balanced in it. I can't be rooted in it. I can't feed it. It's impossible. I'm chasing something that I don't know what it is. Sometimes when you listen to people and things come out like, I know it's not you. I don't know who or what it is comes out of your mouth, but it ain't you. Your energy does not match what's getting regurgitated here. Where are you? Love will be aligned. Love will automatically say to do the right things, or don't say or don't do the right things. We do too much anyway. We need to be more and do less. Plus it's exhausting. Everybody's exhausted. And everybody's like, yeah, because of the pandemic, it's not, no, it's how we respond to the pandemic that exhausts us. There's always been pandemics. There have always been war. There have always been people that irritate us. There have always been stupid drivers. There will always be stupid drivers. All age groups. So it's always been our response to everything. There's always been more difficult. There have always been divorces. There have always been deaths. There have always been something. There's people that have been thriving the last 2 years. And there's been people that do the opposite. And yes, I'm not taking away grief and hard times. I am not. The problem comes in, or the difficulty comes in, is when we start making a home in them and identify ourselves through it, instead of seeing it as a task, as a test, as a hurdle, as a pit stop. Love needs to scream louder. Always. Feel free to stop people in their tracks when they come and do the whole doomsday thing. People are not even aware that they're doing it. It's become the norm. People are afraid to say, I'm actually good. I'm doing fabulous. I'm thriving. You can't say that because somebody had a bad time. So let's all sit in the same hole. Let's all be miserable and just with that, contribute to the low energy that everybody can be miserable for longer? How is that serving? We are afraid to hold high energies. And if then it's only with our immediate kind of people that we don't get judged on it. Well, love needs to be louder. I want to be judged on it. If you want to judge, go ahead. I'd rather be judged on being positive. I'd rather be judged on being excuse my language, freaking ray of sunshine in a storm of manure than being part of the manure. Judge away. If this is what takes it for you to see that there's a different option, go for it. Love needs to be louder. Love needs to be more colorful. Love is sometimes going against the stream or with the stream, or don't do the stream at all. Love is love is love is love. Yes, love sometimes rattles the cages. Love is sometimes the cozy blanket. But love is not the cozy blanket that keeps you in your misery. Love is not the cozy blanket that helps you to not grow. Love is not the cozy blanket who prolongs your hurdles. It isn't. Love is louder. That is the nature of love. And it's for us to align with the one or the other. Love is louder. In a world that's a constant manure storm, little words, little hugs. I'm so glad we don't have to have those things anymore and we can officially touch each other. Everything that feeds our energies was taken away. Everything that feeds the substance of love in a physical way was taken away. And now it's back, and now people don't know how to do it anymore. They still go like, hi. It's not illegal anymore. You're not going to get shot. Give it we don't know anymore how to connect. We're so disconnected now because that's what fear does. And it's not about if I wear a mask or don't do. If it makes you happy, wear it. It's got nothing to do with that. Start connecting, start living, start loving. Be loud, be seen, be heard. Stop hiding. First, everybody was screaming that they're being locked up, and everybody wanted to go jogging. And now, 2 years later, nobody wants to come out anymore, because now we're quite cozy in our little hermit state. Get out. You can still keep your little state there of it, but don't use it as an excuse not to live. Don't use it as an excuse not to connect, and do not use it as an excuse to regurgitate because the world is evil, because you're part of it. If the world is evil, what does that say about us? That we don't want to participate from a level of love. Love is louder. Always is, if we choose it to be. So this is about, let's be loud, because love liberates. Love makes us feel seen and heard. The second pandemic, within this pandemic, was depression, anxiety. What is that? Disconnection from self and others. That's why love needs to be louder. That has nothing to do with any kind of virus or whatever. We're disconnected from ourselves, and with that from others. We are here because we're interconnected. You don't have to be in the middle of crowds 24/7. But love is action to yourself and others. Love is getting up in the morning and go like, hi sunshine, how are we going to grace this world? And it's not up to others if you do or don't. It's your intent how you go out there. Because what you hold is what you're bringing into this world. Live boldly. Get the colors out again. And I'm glad to see quite some colors, because literally the last 2 years, the colors disappeared. Those people that ventured out, it was the grays, the blacks, the blues, it was all the dark colors. Go out there looking like parrots. Perfect. We need the colors. Plus the colors also determine frequencies. Listen to music. Listen loudly if you want to. Dance silly. Laugh again. Live louder. Laugh louder. Live. When last have we done that? We're all in survival mode and getting through one day at a time and going from one bill to the next. Life can be filled in those gaps in between. This is how we determine. We all have stuff to do that we don't necessarily want to do. Yeah, we have to tick boxes. But the gaps in between, that's up to us. Totally up to us. So this is like, love is always louder. And for somebody that is in a hard time right now, I really want to say brainwash them into it. Brainwash them into it. I wouldn't always recommend yelling it into their ears. That can go pear-shaped. But don't give them a gap to receive anything else from you. Because we believe about ourselves the story that we tell ourselves. Not the story others tell us necessarily, what we tell ourselves. And we started creating the first story. We can create the second story. And the third one. And the fourth one. So love always got to be louder, more consistent. And sometimes it's found in the loud spaces and in the colorful spaces, and sometimes in the quiet spaces. But love is always louder. And I literally want to say, scream it from the rooftops. If everybody can, and I'm obviously generalizing, but if it's so freely acceptable nowadays that everything is bad, the world is going to a ball of whatever, and there is like everything is horrible, the country is horrible, this is horrible, that is horrible, everything is like, well then why can't we? Fact is that's not true. It's a generalization. We might just as well generalize then, hey, everything is from left, nothing is perfect, never will be, but I'm just going to at least walk through it in a way that I'm not going to hold belief systems that don't serve me, don't serve my family, don't serve my community, don't serve my country, because this is what we bring, what we hold is what will ripple out. That's the law of energy. What we full of, get out there. Get full of yourself. Get full of love. And fill it with wild abandon. Half of us don't know who we are, what we need. When I ask people, what makes your soul sing? When my kids are happy. No, your soul, not via others, just you. Just you. And I like to cook for my family. No, just for you. Not as a wife, not as a husband, not as like, none of the roles. Just you, as you. What fills you? We don't know. Yet our loved ones, we can rattle it down. He or she is having a bad day, and under 2 seconds I know what I would possibly do to make it a better day. No problem. And when I say, what would you need to make the next 5 minutes better? There we go. Love needs to be louder, inside and outside. Because energy is always an inside-out movement, if we want to maintain it. So from here onwards, not just because of Eskom, but it's literally, love is louder. We are from love. The universe is love. And the story we believe about it or not is entirely up to us. But how we experience it will be fundamentally different. So it's not about our lifetime here will always be sugar-coated. Totally not. But we can always come back to love. So right now, and I warned you, I can talk for 2.5 hours. Let's love each other back to life. Let's do life. Let's get involved. Let's get out of our heads and back into life. Let's stop the negativity. Let's not be part of it. We don't really have to stop it. Just don't be part of it. Don't participate. People are allowed to have that. It doesn't make them good or bad, but it's your choice if you're part of it. Love is louder. Love is stronger. Love is more powerful. We need to start feed it and own it. Plus life is so much more fun with it. Time to live. Live louder. Thank you.